For decades, the colossal Olmec heads have stood in silence, massive stone faces buried in the jungles of Mexico, staring out with expressions no one could fully explain. Who were they? Kings, warriors, gods, or something even more mysterious? Now, everything may be changing. In a groundbreaking move, scientists turned to artificial intelligence to study these ancient giants in a way no human ever could. They fed thousands of high-resolution scans into advanced AI systems, asking the technology to detect patterns, facial structures, carving techniques, and hidden details invisible to the naked eye. What the algorithms uncovered wasn't just surprising. It challenged long-held assumptions about one of the oldest civilizations in the Americas. The Olmecs lived over 3,000 years ago, long before the Maya and the Aztecs. Yet the precision of these 20-ton stone heads has always raised questions. How did they achieve such detail? Why does each face look so distinct? And what story were they trying to preserve in stone? The AI results didn't just offer answers. They opened entirely new questions about identity, culture, and the true sophistication of this ancient civilization. What scientists discovered may rewrite what we thought we knew about the Olmecs forever. Long before the Aztecs built their grand temples, or the Maya developed their intricate calendar, another civilization thrived in what is now southern Mexico. The Olmecs emerged over 3,000 years ago along the Gulf Coast, in regions that today form parts of Veracruz and Tabasco. They built ceremonial centers, developed early writing symbols, and created monumental art that still captivates us today. Among their most iconic creations are the colossal heads, massive stone sculptures carved from basalt, a volcanic rock known for its incredible hardness and weight. To date, archaeologists have discovered 17 of these heads, each one depicting a human male with unique facial features. Their expressions are calm, their eyes are narrow, and most wear what appear to be elaborate helmets or headdresses. These aren't small statues. The tallest stands over 10 feet high. The heaviest weighs more than 50 tons. And here's what makes them truly extraordinary. Each head was carved from a single block of basalt, but the mystery deepens when you consider where this stone came from. The basalt was quarried from the Sierra de los Tuxtlas Mountains, more than 55 miles away from the Olmec ceremonial centers. The Olmecs had no horses, no oxen, no wheels, and no metal tools. Yet somehow, they transported these massive stones across difficult terrain, then carved them with incredible precision, using only stone tools. How did they do it? Modern archaeology still doesn't have a complete answer. Moving a 50-ton block of stone over 55 miles without modern equipment seems nearly impossible. Several theories have been proposed. Perhaps they used rafts to transport the stones along rivers, or maybe hundreds of people dragged the blocks using ropes and wooden rollers. But there's no physical evidence to confirm these methods. The carving itself presents another puzzle. Basalt is one of the hardest natural materials on Earth. Chiseling it without metal tools would have required thousands upon thousands of hours of painstaking work. Yet the finished heads aren't crude or rough. They're remarkably refined. The facial features are clean and detailed. The symmetry of the eyes, ears, and mouths is surprisingly consistent. Even more intriguing, the facial features suggest these heads represent actual individuals. Many researchers believe they depict rulers or important leaders. Others think they might have served as guardians or religious icons. But no one knows for certain. The Olmecs created more than just these heads. They built massive earthen platforms, carved stone thrones, and created altars decorated with mythological scenes. They developed a system of symbols that may represent one of the earliest forms of writing in the Americas. They crafted exquisite figurines from jade and ceramics with a level of artistic sophistication that rivals much later civilizations. Yet despite all their achievements, the Olmec civilization mysteriously declined around 400 BCE. Later cultures, including the Maya and Aztecs, built upon Olmec ideas, but the Olmec people themselves seem to vanish. Much of what we know about them comes from what they left behind, and what remains buried beneath the ground. For years, archaeologists could only study these heads through visual inspection, basic excavation, and careful measurement. The sheer size and weight of the sculptures made deeper examination difficult. Traditional methods like photography and plaster casts couldn't capture the full complexity of their geometry or reveal hidden details beneath the surface. That changed when researchers decided to use cutting-edge technology. Artificial intelligence combined with high-resolution 3D scanning. The team employed structured light scanning and laser mapping to capture every millimeter of several heads. They then fed this data into AI systems trained to detect patterns, analyze surface details, and even peer beneath the stone's surface using density modeling. The original goal was straightforward: create the most accurate digital records possible to help with conservation, document weathering damage, and study tool marks more closely. No one expected to uncover anything that would challenge our understanding of Olmec capabilities. But that's exactly what happened. At first, the scans seemed to confirm what archaeologists already knew. The AI mapped the contours of the faces, documented weathering patterns, and identified expected carving marks. Everything appeared normal. Then the software began flagging inconsistencies. On one head, the AI detected extremely fine parallel lines running along the side of the jaw, hidden beneath a decorative element. These weren't random scratches or natural weathering. They were too consistent, too precise, and too protected from environmental damage. The markings resembled scoring patterns seen in modern precision work, but they were created over 2,000 years ago. The team ran the scans again, thinking there might be an error. The same patterns appeared. Another scan revealed a shallow, circular depression near the base of one head, a feature that had been buried underground and never documented before. When the AI reconstructed the full object, the shape became clear. It looked like a deliberately carved socket, cleanly defined and purposeful. No similar features had ever been reported in other Mesoamerican sculptures. Perhaps most puzzling, the AI detected internal inconsistencies in the stone's density. One head had a distinct region inside the crown, where the density dropped below normal basalt levels. The shape wasn't random. It appeared linear, almost like a channel or shaft running through the stone. Natural voids can form in basalt during volcanic cooling, creating bubbles or gaps. But these are typically spherical or irregular. This looked different, more controlled, more intentional. As the research team continued scanning, more unexpected details emerged. Using photogrammetry, a technique that analyzes lighting angles and microshadows, they discovered what appeared to be shallow carved lines behind the ears of one sculpture. These lines formed a grid-like pattern, almost completely invisible to the naked eye. The AI calculated that the pattern was statistically unlikely to be random or accidental. Another scan focused on facial symmetry. Most hand-carved sculptures show natural variations between the left and right sides. It's nearly impossible for human hands to achieve perfect symmetry. But one Olmec head displayed near-perfect bilateral symmetry in the mouth and eyes, precise down to the millimeter level. This didn't prove the use of any advanced technology, but it suggested a level of planning, measurement, and execution not previously documented in Olmec work. On the back of a head at the Tres Zapotes site, researchers found a recessed symbol only a few centimeters wide, a cross inside a circle. This symbol wasn't part of any known Olmec iconography. It was placed in a hidden location, not meant for public viewing. Was it a directional marker, part of an alignment system? No one knows. Perhaps most mysteriously, one scan revealed a faint spiral carved into the back of a head. The groove was less than half a millimeter deep, but ran continuously for almost 3 feet, completing 5 full turns. No previously studied Olmec artwork includes such a pattern in this location. The spiral was hidden where no one would normally see it. What makes these discoveries significant isn't any single anomaly. It's the pattern across multiple heads. Nearly every head that underwent detailed AI scanning revealed some unexpected feature. Hidden marks, internal structures, impossible precision, or symbols in locations never meant to be seen. This suggests the Olmec heads are far more complex than simple carved portrait. Several researchers now believe some heads were modified over time, possibly recycled from earlier monuments like thrones or altars. Tool marks that cross at odd angles, overlapping surface polishing, and unfinished facial contours all point to reuse. One head even shows traces of what appears to be a throne seat carved into the back, now barely visible due to erosion. If the heads were recycled and reworked, it means they weren't static monuments. They were active objects, possibly used and transformed across multiple generations. The discovery of deliberate burial also changes our understanding. At the La Venta site, 4 heads were found carefully buried within a large ceremonial platform. They weren't discarded or abandoned. They were ritually sealed away. Some heads show signs of deliberate defacement, with facial features flattened or chipped away, possibly during political transitions. All of this points to a more sophisticated purpose than mere decoration. The heads may have served multiple functions. Their placement at ceremonial sites often aligns with cardinal directions: north, south, east, and west, following patterns common in sacred Mesoamerican architecture. Temples, ball courts, and plazas were frequently aligned with solar or astronomical markers. If the Olmec heads were part of a larger spatial design, they may have connected earthly structures to celestial order, not just showing who ruled, but encoding cosmological knowledge. There's growing interest in the idea that these heads were part of a memory system. In some early societies, monuments stored information through position, scale, shape, and arrangement. If the heads were laid out according to specific geometry, they could have served as a kind of spatial archive, a way of preserving knowledge without written language. This would explain why hidden features exist in locations never meant to be seen. The information wasn't encoded for public display. It was built into the structure itself, preserved for those who knew how to read it. The most striking aspect of these findings is that everything discovered was already there. The anomalies existed for over 2,000 years. Archaeologists had examined these heads for decades, but without AI-enhanced scanning capable of detecting sub-millimeter details and analyzing internal structures, these features remained invisible. The technology didn't change the past, it changed what we could see. When the results were published in peer-reviewed archaeology journals, the academic response was measured but curious. The authors didn't claim anything supernatural or suggest advanced lost civilizations. They simply reported the data, described their process, and acknowledged the limits of their interpretations. But the implications are profound. If the Olmecs possessed techniques sophisticated enough to create these hidden features, what else might we have missed? If some heads show grinding marks, a technique requiring controlled abrasion on an enormous scale, where are the tools and materials? If internal voids are too symmetrical to be natural, how were they created? These scans are now public, and the AI models are being refined. More research teams are requesting access to the technology, and funding is being allocated for additional scans, not just of the remaining heads, but of other Olmec structures as well. The platforms, the buried plazas, the forgotten foundations, all may contain similar hidden features waiting to be discovered. What else is sealed beneath stone? What else have we misread simply because we lack the tools to see it? The story of the Olmec civilization is far from complete. For decades, these colossal heads stood in silence, their secrets locked within stone that seemed to reveal all it could. But now, with the help of artificial intelligence, we're beginning to see a second layer. Not because the heads changed, but because we finally learned how to look closer. The anomalies are real. The data is clear. There are features that don't fit the current timeline. Marks suggesting precision beyond what we've found in their tools. Materials implying planning beyond what we assumed. And patterns that echo logic rather than accident. None of this proves anything impossible. But it proves something we once thought we understood may be far more complex than we ever imagined. The Olmec heads were never just monuments. They were never just art. They were pieces of a system, and that system is only beginning to reveal itself.